Stay fly, stay fly.
There's a secret war going on that we have to be cognizant about. But going back to my point, the 5G towers do disrupt the human anatomy, and they do disrupt the environment. I mean, there's certain frequencies coming out of those towers that we have to recognize that are messing with everything. Even a microwave in our household emits certain radio waves that come out of the microwave. That's why those small, tiny dots are on there, because the microwave has what's called gamma rays.
You're listening to The Fly Guy Show. They do everything on the fly and in such a fly manner. Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.
After all that party. The views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree, unless explicitly stated.
Hey, this is Ernie Thomas here on the Bold School Podcast. You're listening to Psycho Vonner's Fly Guy Podcast. Support, like, subscribe, and share. He's saying some good things. Share it. Don't keep it to yourself.
All right. Peace, beloved. Peace, beloved. Stay on code. Stay fly. It's Psycho Vonner, beloved. And tonight, we're dealing with the coronavirus here on the Fly Guy Show. We dealt with this before, and we're going to deal with it again. This time, we're coming from a preventative standpoint. We're not going to deal with some of the other things we dealt with in our last conversation with Chef Keedy. Whew, boy, that was a banger. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that conversation we had with Chef Keedy, then what I want you to do is on Our Black Improvement, the YouTube channel, you can check out some of the videos. And there's the video. Let me pull it up right quick. The video I did with brother Chef Keedy, man, it just blew some stuff away, man. He dealt with, where is it? Yeah, he dealt with the coronavirus hoax, and he also dealt with some great things that dealt with the coronavirus. And the hoax we were talking about dealt with melanated people. There's a peace and prosperity, peace and love, bless up. There's a hoax going around saying that melanated people are impervious to the coronavirus. And the truth is, we may not be impacted as much as our Asian and Caucasus Asian brethren, but we can be impacted by it. Not to the same degree from what history has shown us at this point. We'll see we'll see what happens in the future. I'm going to bring in my good MST brother, my good brother from another mother and father who's doing some great work in the community, brother Kenick-El. Welcome to the Fly Guy Show again. How you doing, good brethren?
Peace and love, good brother. All is well. How are you?
Ashe, everything is everything. All is well. And tonight, man, we're going to deal with correct cuisine cancels coronavirus. We want to talk about how we can make sure we can stay healthy during these times. Even us melanated people, man, how we can stay healthy during these times. We need to have ourselves correctly addressing this situation. And I think, brother Kenick-El, you're the right person at the right time to bring this knowledge, man. So peace and love, brother. Anything you want to say before we jump into the topic?
Peace and love, yes. Well, first, I rise, give complete and perfect praise to Allah, the author, creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternally incomprehensible. I extend honors to his harbinger, to the harbinger of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Messiah Garvey. I extend honors to all past and present leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to the Crumb TV and all the people, everybody that supports and all the affiliates. Give honors to the good brother Seiko for the work that you've been doing in the community. Give honors to all your friends, your family, everybody that can hear the sound of my voice. Peace on earth and goodwill to all. So,
Ashe. All right, so I want to say salute to all the people, all the master students, and the master students are those who follow Crumb, and the fly folk are those who follow the Fly Guy Show. Hey, man, we love your comments. We're definitely going to be showing them throughout the live. Back to brother Kenick-El, man. Break it down, brother. Make it real for us, live right. For us. What's good?
This is just my portion of understanding, and I hope it can be of some assistance to help anyone understand. So, first of all, this whole coronavirus thing is something that I do think we should take serious, as we should with any sort of virus or any sort of illness or anything that brings harm to any human beings. However, we got to focus on the simplicity around the preventative measures of what we can do to protect us from not catching not just this virus, but any virus or any disease or any of that. Anything along the lines of that. So the simplicity around washing your hands. Those are things that we should already be doing. We hope that this isn't a new time where people decide to start washing their hands. But if this would prompt you to be cleaner and more health conscious, then so be it. All things work for good. It's I'm glad we're conscious of that. Drinking water. These are things that we should already be doing anyway. It's important for everybody should be drinking by half the body weight in ounces in water per day anyway. There's lots of different styles and types of water. Me personally, I prefer Kangen water or ionized water. It's water that's 9.5 on the pH scale. There's plenty of different sources. One source that I like to go to is Conscious Planet. That's a great place. They got a machine up there. They got the water up there. Shout out to the family out there. We love y'all. Appreciate you all. Also, for the fear that peace and love, Beverly. How you doing, sister? For the fear that it's in the air, because that's something else that people talk about. I see somebody saying, "Ain't no coronavirus."
Well, let me chop in with that, brother. I think what brother Aboriginal American deities is saying is he's one of the brethren who are connecting it to the 5G issues. And 5G is definitely bringing some issues to the American people. There's a line of thought that is saying that what we're experiencing is truly a problem with 5G rather than COVID-19. Because we dealt with COVID-18, 17, 16, 15, coronavirus, which is simply a virus that jumps from the animal issue, simply dealing with animals to dealing with, us humans.
Right.
And there's a lot of information that's out there that we're still kind of deciphering and going through. So when I hear brothers and sisters say ain't no coronavirus, I understand what they're saying. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with them. I'm not saying, definitely agreeing with them. But the point is, brother, Aboriginal American deities and all of those out there who are looking at the different issues, Afro-Synergy News brought up today how this was traced back to something before China and happened here in the United States of America. So there's a lot of things that are just coming out and I love it. So salute to you Aboriginal American deities, and for everybody else out there who's searching for the truth. Being conscious means we don't just take the okie doke. We don't just take what's given to us. We want to make sure it's right and exact. It has to show and prove. So salute to them. I had to go back to Sister Grandison, man. She's a health guru, and I can't wait to get her on the show. So continue, good brother.
I would say is that, regardless of whether you believe in the coronavirus or not, the positive of what's going on in the earth right now is we're doing a worldwide spring cleaning. The whole world is getting clean right now. So we should just continue to move in the spirit of keeping our hearts and minds full of love, our bodies clean with water, and really be proactive about our health. And a few tips, and because I know that's one of the things you want to talk about today, is some tips and strategies and things that we can do, again, to be proactive, to protect ourselves and improve our health overall. One thing I want to give a shout out to, and honor to the sister Beverly and her husband Johnny for introducing my family and I to the Tower Gardens through Juice Plus. That is something, a great company, a great product that a lot of people should really get familiar with. It's a way to grow your own food indoors using aeroponic gardening system. It's a very industrious act. I really look at this as the new age. This is soon to be the replace refrigerators. So in fact, there's actually a call tonight at right there. The information is on the screen. As you see, it's a Tower Zoom. Learn more about how to grow your own produce indoors or outdoors on the Tower Garden. It's something our family and I have been using for almost a year now. It's a great way to reduce your expenses. You don't have to buy your green leafy vegetables. You also can grow your stuff with no pesticides on it, all organic and indoors. Very convenient. I use it daily. One of the things that I do is we like to drink smoothies every single day. So every day with different fruits, vegetables, and herbs, we go and we get our fruits, all organic, of course, put them in our blender. I use a Ninja, pull from the Tower Gardens that we have at home, and throw it in there and drink your smoothie. So it's a lot of things we can do right now. One of the things, too, that I want to bring up that I think is significant is that I read in one article that the Chinese government is banning the consumption of wild animals. That there is a claim, that allegedly that the breakout of the coronavirus outbreak, it spawned from some food in a bag, eating animals essentially.
Right.
So eating animals kind of led to it. It's arguments on both sides. Personally, I do believe eating animals is hazardous to our health. So that's something else I think we should be conscious of and are working towards a more of a plant-based diet. And, so it's a process. I know we as a people, we love eating birds, chickens, and stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is that stuff is not beneficial to our health. Plant-based is more of a healthy lifestyle. Everybody that I know that has ever transitioned to a plant-based lifestyle, all can share testimonies of improved clarity, improved energy, just overall improvement all around your health and wellness just because you start eating healthier. So,
Ashe. Now, I don't want to be the hypocrite. So I just had my yard bird.
Oh, man.
I'm down to one consumption of meat per day.
Okay.
I used to be 3 days, 3 meals a day. And, I started going down to 2 meals a day, going towards what the Honorable Prophet Muhammad talked about eating 1 meal a day. I'm moving towards that. Eat to live. I read that years ago. I was doing that for a while. Then I fell back. And so I'm moving towards eating to live again. And in eating to live, one of the things that I've cut back on is my animal consumption. Now, I have gone more plant-based. I am worried about soy, man. I am, what I've noticed is a lot of the manufactured plant-based foods have a lot of soy in them. And,
right.
Soy will definitely make a male more feminine. And it does some other things to women as well. But, of course,
if I can,
I'm not the... Go ahead, brother. And while you talk about that, I want to bring in the brother T. West from Afro-Synergy News. He's going to be tapping in with us. He just joined us. If you don't know about Afro-Synergy News, you can find it on YouTube. The brother comes with receipts. But go ahead, good brother. You want to talk about, I guess, my little tap in with soy.
So, yeah. Me, I do try to stay away from soy myself. I try to minimize that, try to stay away from it as best I can. Yes, in the plant-based lifestyle, sometimes in some of the plant-based foods, you find out they got soy in there after you ate it. And you keep learning and evolving. But for the most part, really, I try to just consume lots of raw fruits and vegetables, different herbs, obviously lots of water, and beans and rice. Hold on, one thing she said, one simple change at a time. Health is wealth. Based eating with preventative measures to stay healthy. What she said.
Well, I love what that sister has to bring to the table. I can't wait to talk to her on the Fly Guy Show. But we have the Honorable T. West from Afro-Synergy News joining in. So tonight's conversation deals with correct cuisine cancels coronavirus. But I got a chance to listen to what T. West said earlier today when he talked about the information that he just realized. And Brother T. West, we want people to check out your video on what you just learned about coronavirus and COVID-19. Before we continue talking about correct cuisine cancels coronavirus, can you bring us up to date with what you've learned, brother?
Well, first of all, hey, greetings to you and your guest, Brother Kenick-El.
Peace and love, brother.
Yes. Well, there's a lot going on. Y'all have been hearing a lot in the media. I think there's a press conference going on right now with the White House and all. But the reality is that this COVID-19, this retrovirus, this actually started here in the United States before it started in China. It's just that here in the United States, most of the diagnosis and for those who died, the death certificates, most of them were not saying died of coronavirus, but it was already happening. Most Americans do not know that in the month of October of last year, the Fort Detrick bioweapons laboratory there in Maryland, that was shut down. And it was shut down because they could no longer guarantee that many of those deadly pathogens were not getting out of those laboratories. So I'm afraid it was already here in the United States, but the warning never went out. And also in around about October of last year was also when some American troops went to China, close to the Wuhan area, for the military sports games. And that is when in China, some of the military personnel who were over there ended up in the hospital sick with flu-like conditions. So then, eventually, in December, the world began to realize that of what was happening in the Wuhan area of China. And that led to what we're talking about. Many people are saying today, they're calling it the China virus, the Wuhan virus, when in fact, it didn't start in China. It actually was born here in the USA. And no one should talk about this and ignore the fact that Fort Detrick, Maryland, I mean, that's the infamous Fort Detrick, Maryland biolab, one of the most renowned biolabs in the world, was shut down in October. This is right before things happened in Wuhan, China. Now, an investigator would ask the question, were any of those American soldiers who went over there for the military sports games, were they at any time stationed at Fort Detrick? Or were they around anyone at Fort Detrick at any given time? Those are the intelligent questions to ask. But for political reasons, here in America, they're saying that this virus started in China, and it started because Chinese, some of them were eating or drinking some bat soup or eating some animal. Well, some of the Chinese people have been doing that for tens of thousands of years. Okay? So, and this virus also, before this virus, you had some others. It was like a graduation level. It was just like Dr. Frankenstein working on creating Frankenstein. These other viruses were predecessors to this one, to this COVID-19. For example, MERS, SARS. You all have heard about those. Okay? Those were viruses that preceded this one, but they were not as deadly as this one. They were not as evolved as this one. Now, evolved not by natural means. I'm talking about through biolabs. Evolved in that way. Made better. Made more virulent. Now, decades ago, when there was lots of talk about HIV, you had microbiologists, some of them who were talking about, well, a dream weapon would be something like AIDS, but made to spread like a natural cold, like the just the common cold, spread like influenza, spread through the air. Okay, so you had microbiologists. That was their dream. Okay, so today we see that. We see where the common cold, all right, the coronavirus has been weaponized. And we cannot ignore the fact. I say this again, and I stress this, that Fort Detrick was shut down in October of last year. And then you have to ask the question, why was it shut down? And the answer would be because pathogens were getting out. And don't forget that during the 9/11 attacks, anthrax was released from Fort Detrick. That fingerprint was Fort Detrick, where that anthrax had come from. And they sent it to Tom Daschle in the Congress. Okay, Congressman Tom Daschle, because Tom Daschle was against the Patriot Act. So they were trying to frighten the hell out of these people in Congress into submitting to the Patriot Act. That's what they were doing. But it came from Patriot. Yeah.
Wow. Brother T. West brings the receipts again. So tonight we're dealing with I messed up. Tonight we're dealing with correct cuisine. In other words, eating correctly cancels coronavirus. And this came from a conversation that I had with our Minister of Information, Brother Celebrity Chef Jacoby Ponder, who just joined in. I have your mic muted because there was some background noise. It looks to me like you're at a natural food store or something. I'm about to unmute your microphone, but Brother Ponder, we're going to go back to T. West because once again, T. West brings the receipts. But Brother Ponder, your thoughts on correct cuisine canceling coronavirus? What says you?
First of all, peace to everybody. You know what? It's a strong statement to be had to see council coronavirus. You know, the old saying says, feed a cold, starve a fever. So I think that if the people are already eating right, meaning on a holistic diet, on a alkaline-based diet, we know that viruses have a hard time living in those environments. So I kind of want to take a seat and get everybody's point on that first before I make my statement. I'm just a certified nutritionist. I mean, I'm not a dietitian. I know what's in the food and how we should be partaking of the food. And I think that it's not by coincidence about what 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, everybody in our community started to go vegan or alkaline. We started to hear these words: vegan diet, less meat, acidic body types, alkaline, body in line with changing that we. When I say we, people shouldn't have too much to worry about with this coronavirus if we're eating correctly.
Right.
And that's just from a nutritionist, perspective. If everybody's eating right, you shouldn't worry. It's a virus. It's a from my understanding, it's the strand of the influenza virus, which we know that to get over the flu, our mothers would pump us full of broth and soda crackers and ginger. So it's one of those same it's one of those same things. I think that we're becoming afraid because we're internalizing mentally the Europeans' perspective on it. They're panicking because it's killing them. It's killing them. And what we're seeing is the old idea of if master house is burning down, the slave says our house is burning down. If the master say we sick, the slave say we sick. But we are internalizing. we are internalizing what master going through, and we're getting afraid. And see, what's going to get us sick is the anxiety and the stress. That's going to make us sick. Us just having this anxiety of this invisible virus out to kill us. I think people of melanated descent doesn't have much to worry about much when it comes to disease and pathogens throughout the years. So I don't think we have too much to worry about in this case. I don't know of a large number of us dying from this coronavirus numbers. I know large numbers are all through Europe. And I think another worry on top of the coronavirus is finance. And if you have the lessons that Noble Drew Ali put out, he's already made us aware this is going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? He's already told us to keep our body clean with water. So I just want to hear everybody's point before I interject with some more information.
All right, so let me jump from one Morris brother to the other Morris brother. Brother Kenick-El, what says you? Correct cuisine cancels coronavirus. What says you?
Without doubt or contradiction, what health is to the body, even that is honesty to thy soul. Absolutely. If we're eating healthy and if we're trusting our immune system and eating plant-based, then we shouldn't have any concerns with this. All the preventative measures that are being promoted to protect us from the coronavirus, a lot of us have been practicing and living that lifestyle for many, many years. So we don't have to adjust and do much of anything with this new scare. We're not looked at as being that crazy anymore. So I agree wholeheartedly. I think that it is about eating healthy, and it improves all aspects of your life. It's bigger than the coronavirus. That is just the catalyst that it seems to be getting a lot of us on that wave. But I also want to consider the other positives that are coming from it, with the school to prison pipeline being shut down, no more children in school. That is something that's no longer in place. The CO2 emissions aren't high because there's not as many cars on the road. The chemtrails aren't as bad because there's not a bunch of airplanes in the sky. So this is just a natural cleansing, and we all got to get in tune with nature and eating right. Going back to the premise of the call today, proper nutrition will protect and prevent you from getting the coronavirus. Yes, I'm familiar with the 5G affiliation and it being weaponized and the Rex 84, King Alfred plan, all that stuff. But just eat right.
Okay.
We'll get to all that other stuff later.
All right. Brother Receipts, Mr. T. West, what says you? Correct cuisine cancels coronavirus. You've done a lot of research on the background on it and how it's possibly been weaponized and how it's impacted in other parts of the world. But how should we deal with this, brother? Will correct cuisine help us?
Well, correct cuisine always help you.
Right.
However, correct cuisine will not save you from certain types of bioweapons. Okay? Now, why? The reason why is because the bioweaponry, that science, that area is unnatural. It's not natural. These are things, that's why in 1969, the United States Congress referred to these bioweapons as synthetic biological agents. Okay? Man-made. They're not natural. So when you try some natural remedies with some of this, they oftentimes only have limited effect with it. Now, but as I said in the beginning, eating right always helps you. It always makes you better. But second part that I said is that anytime you have a genetically modified virus, co-virus, in this case, the common cold, influenza, then you're playing with a different animal, a different beast altogether. Okay? Now, you have people, now all of us vary. Some of us come from parentage and lineage who have some strong genes and they live a long time. Some of us come from lineage, they don't live as long and they're more easily susceptible to diseases. Okay? So you have some individuals, if they come from a strong genetic line, it seems like, well, they can eat whatever they want to eat. And it looks like they just keep on ticking. Okay? Then you have others, they can't do that because they don't come from a strong genetic lineage. And if they eat certain things, it will make them sick, even kill them. So, but for both categories, whether you come from strong genetic lineage or not so strong genetic lineage, your diet is very, very important. And it's going to benefit your body when your body is attacked by natural occurring viruses or germs or genetically modified viruses or germs. But make no mistake about it, okay? I don't want to deceive anybody. There are, even though they aren't really putting it out there very well right now, the Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization, they aren't doing it very well just yet. But I've seen some of the information. Black people, some of them are contracting this COVID-19. And some of them are dying. You had an NBC News sound engineer, black, 61 years old. He had other medical conditions also. He's dead. And that was COVID-19. You have another woman. She was an RN, a nurse, all her life. She had retired in Illinois. Black, 61 years of age. She had a medical condition. She had asthma that she had all her life. But she had a situation where it just suddenly got worse, started. Children took her to the hospital. She died. They couldn't see her. She was under quarantine at the hospital. She died. 61 years of age, black. All right. So we're not immune to this now. Okay? I want to make that clear. We're not immune to it. So let's pay attention to what's going on out there around us. Some of us will get it and we'll kick it. It won't take us down. Others will get it and it will make you very sick. And then others will get it and it will kill you. All right, so let's be aware of that. But we want to stress what the brothers are talking about, healthy eating. That's the big stress, because that makes it easier for your body to help fight these things off. Okay? All right,
so Brother T. West, I want to tap back in because we were going to allow everyone to answer their measure, and then Brother Ponder was going to come back with his measure. But I want to go back to something that you said. I think what you just said was kind of intriguing. Oh, I also need to let this disclosure out as well. You and I use the term black. You and I use the term African American. The other brothers don't. So I don't want people to think that Kenick and Ponder or I shame that they accept it, but they don't necessarily use those terms. All right, you and I do. Okay, all right, Brother Ponder. Now that we all got a chance to use our measure, and we're not dealing with the identity piece tonight right now, but Brother Ponder, now that everyone has had a chance to do their measure, what says you?
Well, once again, West made a good point. Eating right is not going to make you immune from being a carrier of this said strand of influenza. And I think that people who already have respiratory issues or any type of health issues are at greater risk anytime there's an immune attack virus out there, whether it's COVID-19, whether it's bird flu, whether it's the Spanish flu, or whether it's the bubonic plague. I think anybody who's already in a condition of, mental stressors or just hormonal imbalance or just bad diet are highly susceptible of carrying this virus and dying. I'm not an expert at this COVID-19, and I can only speak again from the nutritional aspect, saying what we should be putting in our body. We already know. Dr. Saber already laid the groundwork. Honorable Elijah Muhammad already told the black man what to eat. Noble Drew Ali already said what to put in our body. So even the scriptures already tell us what to eat. So if we just follow these measures, I think we should be okay. You know what I mean? And again, anybody with respiratory issues already, if you're asthmatic, bronchial issues, I think the COVID-19 virus attacks the individual respiratory system. So if you already have an affected respiratory system, it's going to worsen the issue. If you don't have any respiratory issues at all, I think that you're, prone to getting sick. But as T. West said, that, it's not fatal for a healthier person. So increase your chances on beating this virus by, of course, staying clean, washing your hands, and eating healthy. Eat highly alkaline vegetables. Drink more water. The more water you drink, the more alkaline vegetables you put in your body, you stand a great chance against any virus, and not just the COVID-19 virus. But I think anybody with health issues are already susceptible of the worst conditions ever, man. I mean, if you diabetic, hypertension, blood pressure, whatever you got going on in your body, you know, the African Americans are the most prone when it comes to health issues in America. Yet we have some of the lowest numbers throughout the world right now with this pandemic going around. I think Europeans are dying at a higher rate than most African descent people are. You have to ask yourself, why is that? Why are they dying at an alarming rate beyond us? I think the brother just named 3 people who had passed away who's of melanated descent. But you have to understand the melanated people of America and throughout the world, we're the majority. Why is the minority dying from this virus the quickest? What is going on with their health that we're not understanding? And again, we have to stop internalizing another man's fear and making it our own fear. You see what I'm saying? We have to stop, correct our thinking. You know, we are what we think we are. You know what I mean? The thoughts are the cause of it all. So we run around here watching CNN, watching C-SPAN, watching the Financial Channel, and we saying that we have corona. We saying that we have a deficit. We saying that we are in trouble financially. Again, it's back to that word called psychoneurosis, and it's an abnormality of most African folks to register or resonate with their masters about something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? So we have to step back and understand the big picture and what's really going on. And I want to say one
question. Okay, go ahead.
One thing real quick. When the time comes, I want everybody to understand this, when the time comes, and the time will come, where the grocery stores will limit accessibility to come in there and shop, and this will happen. They will call out the National Guard to set certain perimeters in place for order. And I spoke about this real quick earlier about the National Guard getting involved. The National Guard will get involved at some point, but it's up to the discretion of each state, of each municipality to deploy the National Guard. And the National Guard is there to protect the nationals, which are the members or the citizens, to make sure their interest stays in play. So we have to understand once this shit happens, once the grocery store bit happens and they start rationing out food, people are going to become more hungry. You know, the first law of nature is self-preservation. So learn to fast. Start fasting now. Learn how to fast. Learn how to eat so much throughout the day. Control your intake. You see what I'm saying? This is a great time to go out, walk around, exercise. You know, increase your chances of living. That's all I want to say about that.
I give power to that. I want to go around and let all of us kind of chat on this question that Ryan Campbell dropped. The question is, do you think that what's really killing the people is the chemtrails and the 5G? Let's start with Brother T. West. Chemtrails and 5G. Is that really what's killing these people?
No. Those chemtrails and talk about the chemtrails, that's been for decades. Okay, we've seen that for decades. And the 5G, that's all propaganda. Okay, if you're familiar with what Attorney General William Barr and others were saying in February, they had a big meeting and they were talking about China and China being America's biggest threat. Okay, not Russia, but China. And then they started talking about 5G. 5G is something that the United States fear because China has a huge lead in that technological area. Okay? Now, so therefore, what has been put out in the media by deep state characters, okay, these are cloak and dagger people, they put it out as propaganda, is that 5G is what really helped trigger this in China. That is not true. That's propaganda. 5G doesn't have anything to do with this COVID-19. Nothing. It's a technology that, of course, allows much faster internet connectivity and communications over the internet. That requires a more powerful bandwidth. Okay.
I disagree with that.
Now, what you can have with 5G technology, the power that you use for that, it is a higher electrical ray, okay, that's put out, microwave that's put out. Now, depending on how you place those receivers and transcenders and all, it can be dangerous, depending on how you place them. Now, but for those who are claiming that 5G is triggering this, no, that's not the case. You know, also in Africa, right now in Africa, the number, it takes a while before the numbers start going up in certain countries. But in Africa, in those countries there, throughout Africa, that number is up to at least 1,000 right now who have tested positive for this COVID-19. All right, so when we talk about this, we have to look at certain factors. Europeans, Asians, more so than Africans, more so than blacks on average. They have income, dispensable income, okay, that they can use to travel around the world. So they travel much more than blacks on average. And when you travel, and if you're sick, you're carrying this virus, you're sick with it, you're carrying this virus to various areas and countries around the world. So initially in Africa, those who had tested positive for COVID-19, they were coming from places like Italy. They were Italians. They were Germans and others who had it, French, okay? So, but again, I'll close with this. The whole 5G piece right there, there is zero evidence, zero scientific evidence, conclusive evidence that 5G has anything to do with COVID-19. And especially because it is so very early with this. And there has been...
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Brother Kenick-El, man, and I'm going to end by letting Ponder and T. West kind of go back and forth. But before we allow that to happen, Brother Kenick-El, what says you? 5G, chemtrails, is that leading to any of this that we're seeing with the COVID-19 situation?
Islam. I think to a certain extent it does, but I think the most controllable variable and the most controlling factor is simply what we're eating. I think a lot of us were kind of overcomplicating this whole thing. If we really focus on boosting our immune system, eating healthy, then we'll be fine. And another huge thing is fear. Fear and ignorance is what's kind of hurting us a lot. People are more afraid of the virus, and that is kind of causing a lot more damage than the actual virus itself. So I think if we just kind of keep it simple, wash our hands, drink some water, eat healthy, practice good personal hygiene. Naturally, if you're sick, stay away from people. If you do all the stuff that your common sense should already be telling you to do, we should be fine. So, I mean, I know that 5G discussion, we can go on for hours on that, and I'm looking forward to hearing the dialogue between the brothers on that. But I would say if you would ask me, what is the most important factor and the most controllable that we should be prioritizing around? Plant-based, eating healthy. And I think even the Chinese government, they ban eating whole wild animals. And they're also encouraging a lot of their citizens to transition to more of a plant-based lifestyle because that would just improve all of our health. So that's kind of my take on it. Control what we can. Don't sweat it and stress out the things that are beyond your control. You're just going to go crazy. So just if you eat right, drink right, and you should be all right. But I'm open to listening and learning because, hey, so yeah, I yield the floor. That's all I have on it, brother.
All right, well, look, T. West, you dropped your measure, and I know in the midst of that, Brother Ponder said that he disagreed, and I wanted to hear what Brother Ponder had to say, and then we're going to get back to the topic at hand when it deals with correct cuisine. So, Brother Ponder, unmute yourself, and let's hear what you bring to the table, man. Let's hear what you bring to the table. I love the fact that T brings receipts, and Brother Ponder, you always bring receipts. Let's see how these receipts stack up.
You know, first of all, I'll say this right here, man. All praise is due to Allah. Allah give all of us our own portion of understanding, man, which is suitable unto us. You know, if the good brother say that that's his measure on the whole bit with the 5G, then that's his whole measure on it. And sometimes when you use the word scientific, it makes it sound fact. So we have to be cognitive of using terms like scientific. That doesn't mean that it's factual. When we know for a fact, right? Just riding in your car, for example, you have what's called an AC, which is an alternate current. And this alternate current is charged throughout your car, and your driver's seat is fastened to what's called the chassis, to the frame of the car. So alternate currents are running through your car, through your body the entire time. In fact, if you ever change the radio station, that static sound, that's a zap by what's called ELVs, extra low frequencies. So you have extra low frequencies, you have super high frequencies, and you have different waves. What I would like the good brother to expound on is what type of waves are these 5G towers putting off? Our entire grid of our body is electromagnetic in type. We emit certain radiations. Our bodies emit certain frequencies. For example, as we walk, as we talk, as we sit, we're vibrating. If I came near Mr. T and I did not know him, I would say, I don't like him. He's giving me a bad vibe. What I'm saying is he's giving me a bad vibration. We are vibratorial people. The 5G, it omits such a high frequency. We're talking about megahertz. What happens to any life form near a 5G tower? That's trees, animals, bees, birds, etc. There is no life form found around these towers because these towers are emitting certain radio frequencies, right? And it does disturb the human genome pool. It does disturb your DNA. And that's scientific. Now, what we have not seen is the weaponization of the 5G towers. We do know the 5G towers were started by the U.S. Armed Forces as a project. And as the brother brought up, this is a cyber war of sorts that's going on between China and America, and Russia has a lot to do with this as well. You didn't really hear too much about 5G networks or 5G towers as it was commercialized until after Donald Trump invoked what was called the Space Force, which is the fifth branch of our armed forces. You never ask yourself, what exactly is the Space Force and what is this 5G towers used to do? There is an electromagnetic grid over Earth, okay? We have to understand the electromagnetic grids over Earth, how they coincide with our body, and the 5G network towers are disrupting certain gene pools in the human anatomy. They are causing disturbances in the environment. Everything around us is a vibratorial frequency, and these 5G towers are disrupting that frequency. Now, does the 5G tower coincide with COVID-19? Absolutely not. I agree with the brother on that. Absolutely not. One is viral, one is a biological weapon, and another one is a whole other type of weapon. These are both weapons. We have to ask ourselves, what war is taking place right now between different fascists? What weapons are they now utilizing? These people who are dying from COVID-19 are just casualties of war. There's a secret war going on that we have to be cognizant about. But going back to my point, the 5G towers do disrupt the human anatomy, and they do disrupt the environment. I mean, there's certain frequencies coming out of those towers that we have to recognize that are messing with everything. Even a microwave in our household emits certain radio waves that come out of the microwave. That's why those small, tiny dots are on there, because the microwave has what's called gamma rays. And as I said, there's certain tiers of rays that come out of these 5G towers. They're so high that they are disrupting human activity. There's a project called MK Ultra. MK Ultra also ties back into the 5G towers. These are just weapons from the military that have been utilized in the community. So they do have a little bit of threat on human anatomy, Brother T. But I do agree with you. They're not related to COVID-19. They're not related to that mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's great. That's great. Very good information. Very good information. And I agree with that. And as I said, with 5G, just like with gamma, with X-ray technology can be helpful to the body, or it can also be harmful to the body. It's just like microwave. Microwave technology can be helpful, or microwave technology can be harmful. if you get too much of it, if it's too close to you, it can indeed kill you. It can fry you. Just like a microwave oven, you get in there, it'll fry you. Now, with the 5G technology, as I said earlier, if you have too much of a concentration of the 5G technology, and as we know, most of this technology, I wouldn't say most, but a hell of a lot of this technology comes initially from military applications, initially. Even the internet, even with the internet, that was initially blueprinted with the military, used with the military. So with 5G technology, if you concentrate too much of it in an area, it can harm you. It does disrupt things, okay? It'll mess with your cells in your body because we are, as you said, we are made of chemicals, okay? And when we think, our thoughts, all of that is through electronic impulses, okay? Microwave works in a similar way. You have electrical impulses, and the more electrical power you apply to that, the more dangerous it is to living life forms. That's why most people will say, look, I don't want my house being beneath those power lines, those super high metal poles up. You see those power lines going through communities? I don't want my house underneath that. Okay? Now, and we aren't even talking about microwave. We aren't even talking about 5G with that. But still, people don't want that. If they can help it, they don't want that because it can be dangerous. Okay. So, but the whole talk, and I'm glad my brother concur that this whole talk about 5G being a contributor to this COVID-19, that's propaganda. I've heard people say it. I've seen people say it. That's a bunch of deep state propaganda. That's what it is. Because right now, the United States is very angry with China because China is far ahead of the United States in the 5G technology area. China is already setting up 5G communications in areas in Africa right now. Okay? And 5G replaces you having to dig a trench and put cable in the ground, put fiber optics in the ground. It replaces that. You just put those super high towers up and put those microwaves in an area where you don't have direct these microwaves at 5G hitting humans directly. Now you have 6G also. And 6G is even more dangerous. Yeah. You had 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G now. All right. So,
that's true.
Wow. Make these things safe. You moderate and you mitigate and you monitor these things with 5G. It's not going to kill you. All right. But it can kill you. Let's get that straight. It can.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Woo! So I know we still have some great information that we need to dealing with 5G and chem towers and chemtrails, and we're going to chat through that in some of our upcoming vibes. But right now, I wanted to leave us with some solutions. Look, we all need to be healthy. Be healthy, y'all, like Dead Prez said. Dead Prez said, let food be your medicine. The canonized Holy Bible talks about let the vegetation be your meat. It talks about eating plant-based. And I know that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali talked about eating healthy as well. So, Brother Kenick, I saw you held up the book. Do you want to share your measure when it deals with health so we can have some action items so we can walk away eating healthier? Yeah, brother, go ahead and drop your measure. Your mic's on.
Islam, peace and love. Yes, I held up the quotes of the Prophet, oral statements, just a few of these that I wanted to share, because I think some of the things that Noble Drew Ali spoke on are really coming to fruition right now. Just a few of them I want to read because they literally go inside what we're dealing with right now. And in here, one of them, it says, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, one day, every wheel of industry is going to stop. And when they start up again, it will be in the Asiatics' favor. So I think we're seeing that right now. I think the good brother Jacoby Ponder-El spoke to that earlier, how a lot of more is if we're in tune with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's lessons and teaching, we recognize that we are in the end of time and fulfilling of the prophecies. Biblically is in Revelations. So we're living in those times, and it's not a time to be fearful. It's a time just to be prepared and to apply all this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we all have obtained that's clearly being showcased here in this show. We have a wealth of knowledge amongst us as a people. So this is a time for us to come together in the spirit of nationhood and know that everything is being transitioned and returned to us. We've complained and griped and talked about injustices that took place. But a lot of us know that we are the true American citizens. We're aboriginal to this and indigenous to this land. So we're at a point in time now where things are being returned. So this is the transition. So, and another 2 more quotes that he said, or 3 more that I just want to read, and then I want to yield the floor. But the Holy Prophet told the Moors, one day you will go to the store and there will be soldiers there with guns and bayonets on them, and they will not let you enter. They will order you to move on. And another one, it says, the Holy Prophet said, one day the Europeans are going to lock up the food in the warehouses, put soldiers around them to guard them, and you will go anywhere he says to get something to eat. And one of the last things is the Holy Prophet said, one day the European is going to let you down. You are going to have to put up a 90-day supply of food to last you until your brothers come to rescue you from the East. So with that, as far as action items and things, to your point, to close out, Tower Gardens, we shared the link about the Sister Beverly Grandison's, and honestly, her and her husband, they introduced my family now to the Tower Gardens. That is a practical resolution, something we can get behind and support. I encourage you to get on that call that's taking place after this if you're available. If not, get in touch with myself or contact Beverly, and we'll make sure we get you that information. You obviously transition to a plant-based lifestyle. Take the time just to do some research around what you're eating. Not to solely protect you from corona, but just to improve your health. The corona and all the other stuff are natural side effects. Like to the brother's points, there's certain things you just can't do. So I don't try to focus on that. Focus on what I can control and drinking lots of water. And then your thoughts. Don't let fear destroy your immune system. Don't scare yourself into depression and anxiety. You have anxiety attacks because you're afraid of this myth made of air. A lot of us are not experiencing the symptoms. A lot of people are scared of coronavirus, but if you don't have symptoms, then you don't have the flu. You don't have none of the symptoms, then don't stress yourself out and be worried and shut down everything. Just be respectful, use some common sense. And then the last thing I would say is, I encourage everybody to spend some time with the Moors. Go visit your local Moorish Science Temple of America. Try to get an understanding and in tune with exactly what it is, the mission that we advocate for. Eventually our people will see. Anybody that does choose to still challenge us will realize that we love you. We're here for humanity. We're here for all of our people. We are one family. And we just encourage us to let's move in the spirit of nationhood. We're going to disagree on some things. And I think the brothers showed a great way of how we can agree to disagree respectfully. We can continue to work together and focus on the value that we all bring to the table, because everybody has value. And I appreciate the show, brother. I appreciate y'all, brothers. Appreciate you having me on. Great information. I'm going to have to watch it again, take some notes, and go research some stuff I heard tonight. So that's kind of all I got. So peace.
Ashe, it's always good to have you on, Brother Kenick-El. Islam to you and to all the Moors in the house. Salute and honors. Hey, we'll let you go, brother. I know you have to get ready for your call. So if you're interested in that Tower Island, is it Tower Island?
It's Tower Gardens through Juice Plus. You can send me an email or send an email to unitytemple14@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Kenick-El, on Facebook, Kenick-El. Also, I got a Kenick-El Speaks page. You can get in touch with me on any one of those platforms. So I'll get you that information. And if you can share that information again with the call, they can chime on that. But I do have to go because I do have another engagement I got to prepare for. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And Peace on earth.
Before you tap off, type in your social media in the comment so it'll populate, and I'll make sure that everybody gets a chance to see that. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Right here, live comments.
Yeah, put it on live comments. I want to make sure that people can get in contact with Brother Kenick-El with all the great information that he's talking about. If you're also interested in the Moorish Science Temple, there are Moorish Science Temples all around our country. And the great information that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali shared of the Circle 7 Quran, you can find that online. I have a copy. I obtained it online. I had a copy years ago, 20 or 30 years ago, back when I was a newborn. But the great information is out there. So, Brother Kenneth, if you can pop that information out there.
Yeah, I'm about to type it in here now. Well, actually, you got my name up there. Just put in Kenick-El, just like it look on the screen.
Okay, be lazy about it, bro. Be lazy.
I'm trying to do that, brother. And I would say this too, just on that point. If you do have a Quran, everybody come to the temple. There's a lot of things that we discuss in the temple that we're not going to discuss necessarily in the public because we obviously have our own structure and things we do internally. Especially if you have race pride, if you love your race and you believe our condition can improve, then we welcome you. We welcome into our fold strong men and women with sound mind and good character. And if you want to support this divine national movement, get with us. So,
all right, with that, we'll say peace. We'll say grand rising, even though it's not in the morning time. Salutes, brother. Salutes.
It's on, my brothers. Peace and love. I love y'all, man. Y'all be safe.
And Brother T West, I want to show everybody what needs to happen. They need to go to Afro Synergy News on YouTube. I'm going to hit the subscribe button. As you see, I just subscribed, even though I subscribed before. I just want to show people to subscribe. Look, you have information in the bullseye where you really deal with some things that really need to be dealt with. You have this video on the COVID-19 is weaponizing the common cold and how it originated in the U.S., not China. I think that was intriguing. That was a very intriguing conversation. Your video on Bill Gates and his obsession with trying to bring things to the motherland, that was pretty intriguing as well. And one of the other areas where you and I really come together and we vibe are in the areas of reparations and the 21-point agenda that you have for people of African descent here in the Americas. So they can find that information there on your channel, right?
That's correct. You covered it.
Any last words, brother? Any last words, T West?
Well, last words, you said, you mentioned solutions. Well, quite some time ago, I said to African Americans, to Black people, whatever y'all choose to call yourselves here in the United States, I said that 39% of you still reside in the southeastern region of the United States. 39%. And the rest of you reside elsewhere in the rest of the country. But no region has a majority like the southeastern region. Now, if you don't know what the southeastern region is, well, when I say the South, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Now, what I've said as a solution, and especially right now, okay, with you have national emergency that's approaching martial law, okay, it's going towards that. And you have some shortages of certain things in stores. Well, Black folks, they still have lots of land in the South. And that's land, many of you even still have your own water. I have my own well, okay? I got my own water here. And unlike California or Arizona and some other places, you get a nice amount of rain out here also, okay? So with the land, you can grow your own crop, your own food. You can raise your own animals. You can do things like that. And, when things really get crazy, or let me just use a word that a lot of you are familiar with, when things really get funky, you all know that it really, really gets bad in the urban areas, in the cities. So consider what I told y'all long ago. Consider going back home. Consider going back to where your parents came from, your grandparents came from. Consider that. They ran away from certain things, and they should have ran away from certain things. But now is a new day. It's a new day. Most of you have an education. You got a little bit of money. So consider going back home, and also building up where you build up a majority in that region. Once you build up a majority in that region, you can establish your own ordinances, your own rules, your own laws, just like the Hispanics have done in California and other places. They established sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. To benefit who? To benefit them. All right? So African Americans, that's my big solution, especially in this time, in this state of pestilence. Okay? Pestilence in America. So some people, a year ago, they weren't listening to that. But when I say it now, they're listening. They're listening because they see that their paradise, if you're in Los Angeles, California, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, if you're in some of these other big, huge cities, you're seeing that your little paradise is kind of crashing down around you. It was sort of reminds me a little bit of the biblical story of Abraham and Lot. Lot says, I want that over there. Lot wanted those bright lights. He wanted that city. He wanted the urban area. And Abraham said, well, okay, nephew, I'll go ahead and I'll take this desert out here. I'll take that. But look what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. Look what happened to it. Lot had to leave. But it was also, he also lost some of his family members. Definitely lost a lot of friends. So now is the day. Now is the time. And people with vision, with true vision. Now is the time for he and she to speak up and to be heard. Now is that time. This is a day, like my brother said, he was talking about Brother Drew Ali. Yes, he was right on the money. But many before him, many after him have been right on the money with this. They've been telling you that this was coming. It's here. It's here right now. In New York. In New York. Yeah. They're moving.
Brother T. West and Brother Kenick-El, we appreciate, and Brother Ponder, salutes and honors. We appreciate your thoughts. You've been listening to the Fly Guy Show, the home for conscious melanated conversations focused on improving our situation. We're not always going to agree on everything, but we agree that we're moving in a direction where we have to be the solution to the problems, the pestilence in America. I think that should be your next video, T. West, the pestilence in America. So with that, I just want to say peace. I want to say everyone be safe, eat healthy, do healthy things, think healthy things, and seek empowerment. Seek empowerment, seek empowerment. And one of the things that I've been really pushing recently has been empowerment voting. So look up hashtag empowerment voting. Look up stay on code and get on code, and y'all be at peace. All right. All right, beloved. Stay fly. 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 Stay fly.
Stay fly, 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 stay fly.
The views expressed by the guests are only the views of the guests, unless we say we agree, unless explicitly stated.
Stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly, stay fly.